run 4 wide receivers at any one time. No one for these Carver Rams is really a true tight end, Renee.
No, they don't. They run the 4 wide receiver set, the fun and gun offense, if you will, and they will try to spread the defense for the Rummel Raiders, and you may see a run here and there to kind of keep them honest.
Well, they'll open up with Holmes behind Hayes. Motion left to right. That'll be Holmes with the ball, sweeping right, finding some daylight as he'll turn up over the 25 and get bumped out of bounds right about the 28-yard line. For the Raider defense, it'll line up like this across the front. Cliff Gurley, he's a good one. Louis Irwin, James Sagason, and Nick Liacano. Linebackers, defensive backs, we should say, Pat Lamy, Carlos Velasquez, Deron Wilson, Jeremy Roussel. And the Raider linebacking crew, Chris Clark, Jeff Lambert, and Dave Kirkley. Second and about 3. Eugene behind Hayes, who wants to pass. Haynes drops, incomplete, throwing behind his intended receiver. That'll bring up 3rd down.
Gerald, you didn't get a chance to see it in the screen, but he had one wide receiver about 40 yards down the field. He had one near this sideline. So as you can see, we talked about it earlier in this game, he's going to take those 4 wide outs and try to just wear out those defensive backs of the Rummel Raiders. They're going to have to go to 5 and 6 defensive backs before it's all over with. But he will throw some flare outs to Nathaniel Eugene, only 5'2", 155 pounds. He carried the ball on 1st down, but he can catch and run, and he runs a 4.38, so he is a threat.
3rd and about 3 for Haynes. Whistles before this one can go, and it looked like a Raider may have jumped on the right side. We'll read it. Looked like possibly that one of the defensive backs coming across a little early, showing blitz, and jumped across the line, and that'll give Carver its first down of the game.
It may have been Jeff Lambert. He's a linebacker, wears number 22, and he had 17 stops against South Lafourche. He's very active from his linebacker position, and we'll talk about him as the day goes on. He's got some colleges looking at him, as well as a pretty good baseball player.
There it is.
Ball spotted on the 32, where it'll be 1st and 10. Haynes hands the ball off to Nathaniel Eugene in the backfield. He's quickly wrapped up and dropped by Leodono. Loss on the play as Leodono, the senior from his defensive end, knifes through and drops Eugene for a 4-yard loss.
Nick Liacano, he's a senior. He's a hard-nosed guy. He's a pass rusher. He comes from the right side, a pretty physical guy. He brings that senior leadership. And right now, Rummel's employing a 5-man front with Lambert in a 3-point stance.
Official timeout, though. Check some equipment down on the field. And now they'll throw a flag. So one of the Raiders will trot to the sideline. Dave Kirkley, weak inside linebacker, will come out, and Jason Maenzo will check in. Maenzo will probably see a lot of playing time here this afternoon. He's really their nickelback, Renee, and you'll expect with as much as Carver throws the ball for Maenzo to see a good amount of time.
Well, as we mentioned, Carver wants to get into a shooting match. They would like this to be a, 60 to 55 game when this game is over, when it's more clear, because they feel like it would be to their advantage. But they're giving up, again, as we talked in pregame, 30 points per game, and they're only scoring almost 9. So you can see why they're 0-3 at this point.
It'll be a 1st down for Carver after the penalty is assessed after Rummel. Against Rummel. Pichon with the reception. Bumped out of bounds across the 30. Maenza there on the stop. And, Renee, Carver has early here made some movement towards trying to get some type of running game established. They've had more rushing yardage on the very first carry of the game than they did all of last week. They had 7-yard gain on the first carry of the game, and last week, of course, they finished with negative 3 yards rushing. So we'll see if that trend can continue as it's 2nd and 5 for Haynes. Stamps in motion. Hand off to Eugene. He's got a hole as he moves outside. Look out into the secondary. Across the 35, bumped out around the 33-yard line. Jeremy Roussel comes across to make the stop.
And you got to watch Nathaniel Eugene. He's only 5'2", 155 pounds. He's a senior, but once again, he runs a 4.38 40. They feel like it's a mismatch if he gets into the secondary with the defensive backs or linebackers, but they will do a sprint draw or let him flare out and get the ball in his hands. He reminds a lot of Howard Stevens, who played for the New Orleans Saints.
How do you find a guy that's 5'2" to even stop him?
You got to look low in the grass.
Yeah. Play action pass. Haynes wants to throw. Plenty of time. He'll roll out. Now he's being rushed and knocked out of bounds hard by Lambert, who flew up to make the stop. Haynes was hitting for out of bounds, but Lambert with a clean shot right on the sidelines will set up a 2nd down.
You know, you get a good look at this Delvin Hayes guy, and they call him, he's the Carver version of Slash. Although he plays quarterback, they feel that he's athletic enough to play a number of positions. And get this, as a quarterback, he's the strongest member of the Ram team. He bench presses 402 pounds. He's being looked at by Texas A&M, LSU, Nebraska, Tulane, Mississippi State, Louisiana Tech, Grambling, and others. He will play somewhere in college. We don't know what position he'll play.
Double wideouts at the top of your screen. Fumbled ball. Lambert recovers it, and it'll be the Raiders' ball. Just outside of the 30-yard line. So a break for Rummel as Carver was moving with its opening possession of this ball game. Jeff Lambert in the right place at the right time, and it looked like Delvin Haynes, Renee, never really got a handle on that snap.
He probably pulled out a little too soon. He may have hit the butt of his hand a little bit and bounced forward, and it was kicked a little bit. And Lambert was right on the spot in one of his drops, and the ball goes over to the Rummel Raiders. We'll see them on offense for the very first time this evening, Gerald.
Buster Seelink is your quarterback as he comes beneath center. Slide on the left, wideouts left and right. Motion now. Handoff will be to Michael Burks. Burks met right at the line and driven back. Steve Carroll down on the field. Let's check in with him. Steve?
A couple of things, guys. Of course, last week the Carver team was held to -10 rushing, so they've already done a better job in that area. But just a little while ago, you know, David Kirkley came out of the Rummel lineup. Well, evidently he's wearing a hard cast, and they had to put some extra soft padding on top of that for him to continue to play. That's why he left the game. He's back in there now.
Thanks, Steve. 2nd down and 12 for the Raiders. Seelig will keep it on the option, has a big hole across the 40, up around the 42-yard line. Good enough for a Raider 1st down. Walter Falls comes across from his linebacker spot to finally make the stop, but excellent decision-making by senior quarterback Buster Seelig to hold on to that ball and turn it into a positive gain.
Good decision by Buster Seelig. He's scorched the left side. He had he had his best game against South Lafourche, 40 yards rushing. He's a quarterback with a fullback or that linebacker mentality. He's a leader. He stays focused, and he's the leader of the Rummel Raiders on offense.
Burks, big hole across the 50 to the 45, one man to beat, and it's a foot race. Burks down the near sidelines, and he will go. Michael Burks accelerating over the right side and into the end zone, and Rummel has punctured the scoreboard first, 6-0 with 9:26 left in the first quarter. A 58-yard touchdown run by Michael Burks.
And he just scooted through a gaping hole, had good blocking up front. Read with his eyes, good vision, Michael Burks, and he just lets his feet. Good block, Ryan Richardson right here. Michael Burks, once he gets in the open, he's using his vision. Look, good cutout move right here, good move.
Good block
on a defensive back on Davio Johnson, and he just skirts down the sidelines, and he possesses that 4.5 speed. A tackle attempted by Lawrence Celestine, but Burks with 4.5 speed, you're not going to catch him.
Extra point by Fuchs is up and good. Rummel holds on, 7-0 here over Carver at Tad Gormley Stadium. You're watching the WHNO High School Game of the Week.
This is a true story.
Got a call from this dame. Seems she was getting bugged about something. I told her I was a man. I told her I had a license to kill. I headed over to her place and got right to work. I don't mess around. Being an expert, it didn't take me long to find the problem. Yeah, it was a bug, all right, but not just any bug. This was the kind of bug you have nightmares about. Some say I'm cold, heartless. The way I see it, it's my job. I got a license to kill.
So Rummel's set to go with a 7-0 lead. One more look at the touchdown, Renee.
And it was a good block down the field by Chris Poche, wide receiver, which kind of sprung him loose. And he did break a couple of tackles along the way, but good blocking. The wide receivers and Chris Poche, they feel pound for pound may be the hardest hitter on offense. He's the go-to guy when it comes time to passing, but he does a very good job blocking downfield. The 6-foot senior, 2-year starter, and Michael Burks. That drive, the Rummel drive, was 3 plays, 72 yards, consumed 1 minute, 13 seconds off the clock, a 58-yard scamper by Michael Burks. The extra point was good. 9:26 remaining in the first stanza. Rummel leads 7-0.
Now we're set to go. Louvier puts his foot to the ball. It's a knuckleball kick that'll bound out of bounds, so Carver will put it in play. 1st and 10. At its own 35.
Get a chance, we'll give the officials. The referee is Efren Macalusa. The umpire is Landy Lanza. Back judge is L.J. Strohmeyer. Head linesman is Michael Broussard. Line judge is Ross Smith. And the clock operator is Dwayne Taylor. And we're blessed with an excellent crew here this afternoon. Some old wily veterans, if I can so affably call them that. They've been around. Mostly these guys are gray beards. They've officiated many, many games, and they do an outstanding job. Good look at Coach Jack Phillips. Jack Phillips played for the New Orleans Saints and the Atlanta Falcons, and he was a wide receiver, played with Archie Manning. And that's why he makes comparisons to his fullback to a Howard Stevens, little 5'5" scat back that played in the early 70s, out of Louisville. And Jack Phillips also has a number 2 draft choice from the Saints, Sam Holden, who was the 2nd pick of the Saints in the Archie Manning draft. They picked Archie in the 1st round, Sam Holden in the 2nd. So Carver is sprinkled with some excellent coaches. Also have Eddie Flint, who is the defensive coordinator for the Rams. He coached at St. Augustine. So with Phillips and Holden and Eddie Flint, the rest of the staff, they do an outstanding job of teaching these young men high school football.
Some good bloodlines there. Well, instead of taking it at the 35, Carver elects to back Rummel up and have him re-kick the ball. This kick by Louvier is high and almost into the end zone, so the strategy by Carver backfires, as now they'll be forced to take it at its own 20 instead of its own 35.
Louvier's kick goes to the end zone for a touchback. Carver will play a 1st and 10.
So it'll be a 1st and 10 right at the 20-yard line for quarterback Delvin Haynes, who will come out for the 2nd time. He moved the offense effectively on the 1st drive and fumbled it away, a fumble that Rummel capitalized in a Michael Burks touchdown run. Haynes with Elfridge behind him. That's who will carry the ball and pick up maybe a couple before he'll slip on the turf and fall down. You know, Renee, I think it's a wonderful idea that plans are underway to take this turf out of Tad Gormley and put in natural grass.
Oh, now listen, I've been a proponent of that. I'm just not a big artificial turf guy, and this turf is really worn down. It served its purpose for a time, but
it seemed like a good idea at first.
It did, and it has been a good idea, but it's time to make a change, and I'm sure with the way they're going to have a beautiful turf inserted in here, it's going to be a positive, and I look at it a tremendous plus for Tad Gormley.
Haynes, once the pass, will throw it to Pichon and overthrows his intended receiver. It'll be 3rd down and 8. You know, if you have the opportunity to walk down on the turf now, some of the seams are coming undone, and there's actually a couple of spots where it puckers quite a bit, where a runner hitting down the field or a defensive back backpedaling could easily trip and fall.
Good point, and we haven't seen it happen too often, but If it happens once, it's too often. So unfortunately, they have to go to the rest of 97 and 98 before a change will be made.
4 wide receivers for Haynes, 3rd and long. Good protection. Now he'll fire the ball downfield, in and out of the hands of Billy Howard. The junior could not keep his hands on it. So that'll bring up 4th down and punting time for the Carver Rams.
A shot at Billy Howard, and just couldn't grab it. The 6'1 junior with a 37-inch vertical jump. Didn't have to use too much of that, but it went right in and out of his hands, and Hayes put it right where it needed to throw it. But Billy Howard couldn't come down with it, and Carver finds himself in a punting situation. Jack Phillips right there.
Set for the punt of Carver. Celestine with the punt. Picked up by Lamley. And he'll come up a couple of yards, and a flag will get thrown down. Good play by Pat Lamley. Lammy, I should say, to pick that ball up and probably save the Raiders about 10 or 15 yards in field position.
Once again, the Rummel Raiders in good field position.
We'll dissect this penalty and see if the Raiders will have an even shorter field with which to work. Steve Carroll down on the field. Let's check in with him. Steve?
Yeah, Gerald Renee, you were talking about the atmosphere. I always thought if I was a player, I'd enjoy falling on top of the grass, but take a look at this right here. You talked about the area of the turf that's coming up. Can you imagine a player running through this and getting his spikes caught in this thing? It could be dangerous. I think what they do here is going to be great on the line.
Thanks, Steve. I guess the answer to that is a little high stepping, huh, Renee?
Legs get tired as the game goes on.
Rummel penalized on the punt return, so they'll put it in play. 1st and 10 at the 40. Burks again on the right side, again finding some room into Carver territory and down to the 40-yard line. What a shifty runner Michael Burks is. What's really impressive about him, Renee, is his vision.
He's got great vision, and he's got the instincts of all good running backs. Once again, Chris Poche blocking down the field, gets past the line of scrimmage right here. That's when he's most dangerous. Chris Poche trying to give him a helping hand, and Michael Burks is spun down. You see number 77. We're going to talk about him from the Carver Rams. That's Gary Jenkins, and he's being looked at by a number of colleges, and we'll talk about him in just a moment.
Handoff to Richardson, the fullback. Tough running on the inside for the junior. He's taken the place of Darren Parquet, who was out for this game. Let's check the Raider offensive line. Graziano, Chatelaine, Rodriguez, Mirabel, Hollinger, and Markey at the tight end spot. Paquet, who is out this week, as we mentioned, Burks, and Paquet, as Richardson will be taking his spot. Burks, Poche, and Bilson. Second and about 6. Burks again with the carry. Nominal gain for the senior before Walter Falls makes the stop.
And that's just a handoff right up front to Burks.
We'll check the Carver defensive lineup in just a moment, as the Rams employ a 4-3. 4 down linemen and 3 linebackers.
At the Carver 37.
Call it about 3rd and 6 for the Raiders. Seelig, play action pass, well protected, tossing, got a receiver. He has the ball into the end zone for the touchdown is Chris Poche. Well, Poche caught a 62-yarder last week, and this one was 37 yards for the score, and the Raiders have quickly gone out in front of the Carver Rams, 13-0 here, Renee.
And he shows why he is their go-to guy, the 6-foot senior. Caught a 62-yarder, as you mentioned a second ago. Runs a post pattern right here, and Buster Seelig just puts it right where he needs to put it, right in his fingertips. An outstanding pass, catch, and run. And the Raiders have an opportunity to go up by 2 touchdowns with 6:34 remaining in the first quarter.
Fuchs in to attempt the extra point. It is up and good. 14-0 Raiders, our score. 6:34 left here in the first quarter as Rummel has scored on each of its offensive possessions. You're watching the WHNO High School Game of the Week.
The future of Jefferson is now here. The Hilario Event Center, located adjacent to Bayou Signet State Park, is now accepting bookings. This state-of-the-art multi-purpose facility features 30,000 square feet of column-free floor space, 4,600 square feet of total meeting room area. The Hilario Center is adaptable for sporting events, commencements, trade shows, and entertainment functions, with 3 different seating and stage arrangements. To schedule your next event, call the Hilario Center at 349-5525.
Green hat.
Louvier's kickoff bounds into the end zone for another touchback, so Carver will take it over 1st and 10 at its own 20. Well, we knew we had a high-powered, fast-scoring offense in the Carver Rams, and what Rummel's showing so far, Renee, is they're also high-powered and fast-scoring.
In the last scoring drive, went 60 yards in 4 plays, consuming 1 minute and 51 seconds off the clock. The final play was a ceiling to Poche touchdown pass. The extra point was good. With 6:34 remaining in the first quarter, Rummel takes a commanding 14-0 lead.
Haynes, beneath center. Will give it to Eugene, who will bounce outside and try to cut it up, and will find some running room as he crosses the 30. Met stiffly by Deron Wiltz, the strong safety. But a nice run that time. Good effort by Nathaniel Eugene.
Breaking tackles in the backfield.
We talked about Nathaniel Eugene. He's got to be respected because, you know, he's got his outstanding speed. Don't worry about his size, only 5'2". It's like a little water bug. He bounces it outside, got in surprisingly good balance and strength in those legs. Only 155, and it's a mismatch when he hits anybody. But when he's moving that fast, he's got a little oomph behind him, and you can see he lowers the hat right here and takes it on Wilt. Good pickup, first down, Carver.
Haynes gives it to Eugene again, straight up the middle. Not much there on the interior of the Raider line, which is not very yielding. Call it a nominal gain of 1, 2nd and 9.
Good look at the Rummel defense right there, and I'm sure that Coach Jay Roth is hoping to get some fresh troops in this contest. He's got some players he wants to play. Has a whole lot of players as the district gets underway next week, and he wants to make sure everyone has a little bit of game experience.
Motion is Stamps from left to right. Play action pass. Standing in the pocket, complete to Eugene, who will pick up the first down across the 45 up to the 47. Lambert finally rides him out of bounds. Nice versatility there by Nathaniel Eugene, the fullback, squirt out of the backfield and take that pass in from Haynes and turn it into a first down.
We tell you with the kind of speed, it's a mismatch on the linebackers. He will flare out. He showed you his running ability early in the game, and a tackle here by Lambert. But I tell you, he gets in the open, and it's Katie bar the door because he's got some outstanding speed, and no one on Rummel can match that 4.38 speed of Nathaniel Eugene.
12-yard pickup on the last play. Stamps in motion again. Eugene fumbles the ball, and it's picked up by a Raider coming back the other way. That's Clock. Clock is going for the end zone and in there for a touchdown. Chris Clock, the middle linebacker, right place, right time, and had just enough speed to push it into the end zone.
That's a linebacker dream, and Chris Clock, only a sophomore. This is his 4th high school game. He's getting better every single game, as Coach Jay Roth and his staff have said. Boy, he just happened to be there, and good things happen to good players, and he was Johnny on the spot. But he knows what to do with the ball when he tucks it and runs. The 6-foot, 205-pound sophomore does an outstanding job. Had 12 tackles last week, and he scores a touchdown this week. So it's been a good season for Chris Clock, 97 thus far.
48 yards return there, Renee, for the score. I guess he'll try to get out of wind sprints come Monday morning, right?
Doesn't work.
PAT up and good, so it's 21-0, just like that. Rummel on top of Carver as you're watching the WHNO High School Game of the Week.
The high school football Game of the Week is coming back to New Orleans this fall on WHNO Channel 20. Catch all of the game-breaking action each week as veteran broadcaster Ken Trahan hosts this season's Gridiron competition. Tune in every Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock p.m. for the WHNO High School Football Game of the Week.
Catch the WHNO High School Game of the Week this Saturday at 4 p.m. on WHNO TV 20.
Louvier puts his foot into the ball, and this is a beautiful kick. Whistles will stop play. There's a flag, and it looks like the Raiders are offsides, and that's really a shame because Louvier really got under that ball and drove it into the end zone.
Good look at Chris Clark, and I'll tell you what, it's kind of set into him that doesn't happen very often. A linebacker dream, scoop up a fumble and run all the way into the end zone. But he's done a good job as a sophomore, and hopefully we'll have many, many more before his playing days are over for the Raiders. He'll be kicking it over once again, so we'll see what happens. Jack Phillips and his staff have some good athletes here. I think you'll hear from them. There's Coach Phillips right there with the manila folder in his hand. And he's got the experience having been there and played for the Saints and the Falcons. And he is a good teacher. He's got good staff with good teachers. And that, you know, that's all important for these high school players. I mean, you know, not only make them good players, but good people, good citizens. And Coach Phillips and his staff do an outstanding job at that.
So we'll do it one more time. Good look at Christian Louvier. Louvier, a junior. Well, this time try to drive it into the end zone from 5 yards deeper. Pichon back deep for Carver. Louvier hits a knuckleball that bounds about the 15. Pichon goes high to pick it up. He comes down with it, and that's a decent return across the 25. So a little bit better field position for Delvin Haynes with which to work.
You know, Pichon, he's a guy you got to kind of keep an eye on. He's only a sophomore. He's got 4.4 speed. He's got 17 grabs coming into this game. He's got 1 catch already. But every time he touches the ball, Gerald, he averages 12.5 yards per catch. He reminds you a lot of, remember Alvin George, who was here a couple of years ago?
Yeah.
And spent some time at Tulane, and we're not sure where he's going to play next. But Alvin George is, or rather, Pichon is a lot like Alvin George, who preceded him here with the Carver Rams.
Haynes hands the ball, another fumble in the backfield, and it looks like Rummel may have come up with it, and they have. 3 Carver turnovers so far, and we're not out of the first quarter. 3 fumbles, and the Raiders have put 2 of them in the end zone. Could they put a third? Well, at this rate, the Rummel offense will have little work to do for this day.
Handoff here, and these fumbles have really been detrimental to the Carver Rams. In and out of the hands of Travis Martin, and the senior Lewis Irwin, 6'1", 250-pound senior. He's a first-year starter, scoops it up and gives the Raiders excellent field position down inside near the 20-yard line of the Carver Rams. And now they're knocking on the door with a 21-point lead and 4 minutes remaining here in the first quarter.
Silic, Burks, the lone back in the backfield, and flags come down before this play is executed. Could be a motion infraction against the Raiders. And that's exactly what it is, so that'll back them up. Rummel winning last week 21-14 over South Lafourche. Carver shut out against Jesuit 42-0. Jesuit hanging a similar number against Holy Cross yesterday in that rivalry. Burks again, right side. This is where he's done damage. He'll do some more. Inside the 10, down to the 6, rolls Michael Burks. Celestine finally knocks him down.
It's coming back, though. Flag, a question on the play, so the Raiders will have to redo it again, and nice run by Burks will be taken out.
21-yard run negated because of the penalty.
Good look at Mr. Macalusa, does a good job.
And it is a little cooler out there today, Renee, but still, once you're on that field in the heat, you feel it, whether you're an official or a player.
You just got to look at number 77. That's Gary Jenkins. He's a 6'2", 270-pounder for the Carver Rams, and he's playing defensive end, but he may play on offense at the next level. He's being looked at by a number of schools: Nebraska, LSU, Notre Dame, Texas A&M, and Tulane. And even though his size, 270, 275, he runs a 5 flat 40s. He's got good feet, and he's going to play for somebody on the next level.
Well, Raiders are on the near hash mark, so one would think that Burks would not sweep right here. Let's see. Seelig will let Burks try the right side, straight up the middle. Now cutting it back against the grain, continuing to go. Sloppy tackling by Carver allows Burks to get inside the 15. Very close to a first down.
You know, the thing about Burks, he's got such good balance, and we mentioned he's got he's about a 4'5", 4'5", 4'6" guy. But he's powerful. You know, he squats 400, he bench presses 350, so he's not an easy guy to knock off his base. About 5'10", 208, 5'11". Good vision here, takes a hit, good spin move, keeps his balance, takes on another tackler. You know, you can tell a good runner how many yards they make after the first hit.
Here's Burks again, big hole straight up the middle and into the end zone for his second touchdown. Michael Burks moving this Rummel offense on the ground here this afternoon to give the Raiders a 4-touchdown advantage, and we've still got plenty of time left to go in the first quarter, almost 3 minutes. A 13-yard touchdown run by Michael Burks.
And that's number 6 on the season for Michael Burks. Good move. He did a lot of this on sheer ability. He got some blocking, but good vision, takes on a tackler right here. Good spin move, continues on his feet into the end zone, and as you said, with the extra point upcoming.
Fuchs has already got a workout that some kickers will only get an entire game in the first quarter. His 4th PAT is up and good. 28-0. Rummel over Carver at this juncture. We've got 2:57 left in the first quarter. And you're watching the WHNO High School Game of the Week.
A new team, a new coach, a new attitude. What more could you ask for this season? How about a hard-hitting new show? Watch the Sports Page with Bob D'Arjono Jr. Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. on WHNO TV 20. It's sports in New Orleans like you've never seen before.
Good look at Michael Burks, the senior.
You know, one thing about Michael Burks, people don't know he was an outstanding basketball player. He concentrates on football now because that's where his future lies.
Loubier pounds it 8 yards deep in the end zone for a touchback. Carver will take it over, 1st and 10 at its own 20.
The last drive for the Rummel Raiders went 22 yards following the fumble recovery. Took 3 plays, 1 minute and 15 seconds off the clock. The final play was a 13-yard ramble by Michael Burks, his 2nd of the game, his 6th of the season. Extra point was good. 2:57 remaining, Gerald. The Raiders with a commanding 28-0 lead.
Well, in about 4.5 minutes of offense, Rummel has gone about 150 yards and have done it in only 10 plays. The 3 scores and the fumble recovery for a touchdown accounts for our 28-0 score. Haynes trying to get something going. Will pass the ball, looking for Stamps down on the right side. Knocked away at the last second. Good play by Jeremy Roussel, the Raider that was right there.
So I got a hand on him, and a flag is going to give the Carver Rams a first down as Haynes just aired it out. Dialing long distance for his receiver, Stamps. It was knocked away by Roussel, but he was interfered with And it will be a 15-yard penalty, and the Carver Rams will get good field position at their own 35-yard line.
Could have been Lammy coming over to help from his quarterback spot for the interference. Steve Carroll down on the sidelines. Let's go to him.
Guys, you just wonder what the mental frame of this Carver offense is right now. We talked to Jack Phillips in our open about the keys to the game. He says we can't turn the ball over. They've done it 3 times, and you can see the emotional swing here, a little bit down on the Carver side and very high here up on this side, the Rummel side.
Thanks, Steve. Eugene nowhere to go on the right side. He's pushed back. You know, Renee, this Carver offense has moved the ball. Their problem has been holding on to it so far this game.
That has been the problem. If you take away those fumbles, this would be a little bit different game, because not only have they turned it over and they can't do anything offensively, but they've given Rummel opportunities deep in their own territory, and you can't do that to a team like Rummel who can hit and score from anywhere on the field.
That first Carver drive just seemed to set the tone for this first quarter when they made it into Raider territory and fumbled it away on the bad center to quarterback exchange. 4 wide receivers for Haynes. Lots of movement early. We'll digest this on 2nd and 13.
Well, you had Gurley and Irwin moving on that play, but they may have been drawn off sides, and I think they weren't. So the 5-yard assessment will go against the Rams.
So the mountain is 5 yards further for which Carver to climb in order to achieve a first down up at its own 45. 4-man front for the Raiders. That's what they'll do. Quarterback straight up through the middle. And Haynes, not much running room as another flag comes squirting out. Haynes will get dropped at about the 31.
People talk about Hayes' passing ability, but he can run, and he runs a 4.5 40. He's normally a good runner, and that's why they're not sure what position he's going to play in college. Might be a quarterback, may be a combination quarterback, running back, defensive back. He may be a slash wherever he goes.
Face mask the call against the Raiders. So in addition to Haynes' offensive pickup there, they'll tack on about 15 more. So it'll be 1st and 10 up at the Ram 46. And fumble once again on the center exchange, and it's picked up by the Raiders and Lambert, and he's going in for the score. The 2nd fumble recovery returned for a touchdown, and the 4th Carver fumble in the first quarter. I was just about to say, Renee, once again, Carver has a drive going. Let's hope that they don't have another fumble to derail it. 40 yards later, we find a celebratory Rummel Raider defense in the end zone again.
And Jeff Lambert scoops it up, and the 6'1" senior displays his 4.65 speed. Good athlete, and he scoots into the end zone for a touchdown, 34-0 with the extra point upcoming. And as you alluded to, 78 ticks to go in the first quarter, and Rummel with a commanding lead.
Well, Fuchs is in to try to make it a 35-0 game. Kick is up and good. 35-0. The Raiders on top of the Rams. We've still got some time left in the first quarter here. You're watching the WHNO High School Game of the Week.
Diabetics, important notice. You may be eligible to receive your diabetic supplies at no cost to you. That's right, no cost to you. If you are on Medicare or have private insurance, call toll-free 1-800-875-9387 for all the details from the Diabetic Supply Foundation. Call now, 1-800-875-9387.
Well, Louvier will do it again as we get a good look there at Jeff Lambert, who's got to go right back out on defense. Raider defense is getting a workout here in the first half. Louvier's kick is fielded, and Immediately, Travis Martin falls out of bounds. So it'll be 1st and 10 inside the 20. That's been part of Carver's problem, too, is they've had poor field position with which to start.
Good look at Jay Roth right there. Boy, I tell you what, this is a dream come true for him. You know, he played for the Rummel Raiders in high school, and boy, he went on to Nicholls State, and he's really turned the fortunes around with the Rummel Raiders, and what a guy who really deserves all the good things that happen, because he's a hard worker, a likable person, and done a great job here in the Catholic League, Jay Roth.
Some people liken this Raider team to some of the Raider teams he quarterbacked in his heyday with the success that they've had. 1st and 10 for Haynes. He'll look to pass and air the ball out well over his receiver. Martin, incomplete. It'll be 2nd and 10.
These Carver Rams receivers remind you a little bit of the Washington Redskins, their edition of the Smurfs. You know, they're not real big guys. Howard, 175, Martin, 161. You got Stamps, 150, and Pichon, 150. But they all can fly. They're all in the 4.4, 4.5, 4.6 range. All good athletes, all have great vertical jumps. But Haynes hasn't had any time to throw the ball because the Raiders have kept so much pressure and heat on the quarterback, and he can't complete the passes. Coming in with a 41% completion ratio, but he hasn't done it this game.
Fumbled, snap again. Haynes can't find it. It's on the turf. Who came up with it? It looks like Haynes came up with his own miscue. A 5th Carver fumble here in the 1st quarter. Rummel can't capitalize on this one. Thank goodness for the Rams' sake. At any rate, it's a loss of 2. It'll be 3rd and 12.
We're not sure where the problem is. The center snap has been really been a problem. Achilles heel for the Carver Rams, and these fumbles have really been costly. They've turned the ball over twice that have been touchdowns by the Rummel Raider defense.
Holmes in the backfield behind Haynes. 4 wide receivers, 2 left, 2 right. Holmes with the carry. He'll lose 1. Met immediately by Brandon Dabdu. And it'll be 4th down.
Well, Dabdu's not the guy you want to run to. He's only a sophomore, but he holds the school record, 500-pound squat. So you're not going to knock this guy off his base. When you run it to him, that's where it stops right there. Dabdu, good tackle.
Well, that's the end of the quarter, mercifully for the Carver Rams. 35-0 Rummel. You're watching the WHNO High School Game of the Week.
Jefferson Furniture, Gretna's oldest furniture store, is celebrating its 50th anniversary. Make Jefferson Furniture your sleeper headquarters. Choose a space-saving twin with button-tufted back for only $2.99. A full-size in a colonial style with pillow arms for only $3.99, or a queen-size traditional style sleeper in a floral stripe with an inner spring mattress for only $5.99. Jefferson Furniture carries a wide variety of sleepers, and you're sure to find the size, style, and fabric you desire. Visit Jefferson Furniture during our 50th anniversary celebration.
Celestine with the punt. It'll be fielded by Lamley, who will lose the handle on it and then pick it up, turn it back upfield at the 50, make something positive out of it, down to the 40. The Raiders seem to do very little wrong. Pat Lammy on the return.
Pat Lammy with a good return. And once again, the Raiders in good field position with a 35-0 cushion just as we begin the second stanza here at Ted Gormley Stadium. Beautiful afternoon, good turnout here for the Hanning Classic first game. We got a couple of good ones following this game, Gerald.
Hanning Classic starting out last night with Jesuit and Holy Cross and continuing today with all the Catholic League schools. And this is the first district week for the Catholic League, except for Rummel, who this week will play its non-district game here against Carver. They'll open up district play next week. Burks spins out of 1 tackle, but not the second. He'll pick up about 5. Taylor comes up to make the stop on Burks.
You know, they weren't sure how much Burks was going to play because of an injury, but he's done a good job thus far, and we don't know how much he'll play beyond the first half of the game. But He's got a lot of people looking at him. Among those players, in good run here, we're going to take a look at the run, Michael Burks. Good vision, cuts it outside. This is just giving the ball and finding a crease, looking for the opening, and a shoestring tackle right here brings him down. But you won't do that very often to Michael Burks.
Salick options it out to Burks again, trying to work at the 35. Spins out of 2 tackles. Finally drilled down at about the 26. That's enough for a first down. The Raiders will move the chains.
Burks again around the right side, and you can see why. He's not just a speed guy. He's got, with 208 pounds, he'll knock you over. Very much like the Jonathan Wells we saw last week with the John Curtis Patriots. A little good foot speed here, perhaps a little bit faster than Wells. But anyway, Michael Burks just bowling over tacklers, potential tacklers, and once he gets in the open, we see what he did the first quarter with that 58-yard touchdown jaunt.
1st and 10 from the 26. Burks again. He'll fumble the ball. It's loose. Who came up with it? Looks like the Raiders will retain possession. Nope, it's Carver's ball. Carver coming up with the loose ball. So the Rams will take advantage of the situation and pick up a turnover of their own.
So the Raiders get a little sloppy, Gerald, in that first turnover of the game.
Sure-handed Michael Burks coughing it up.
He was just trying to make something happen here, and you can't fault effort. But he just didn't keep it tucked in and didn't keep his hand over the end of the pigskin, and it popped loose. And boy, I tell you, that attracts a lot of attention when that ball's on the green. Jack Phillips assessing the situation.
Looking at a 1st and 10 for his offensive unit from its own 22. Haynes to Holmes. He'll spin out of 1 tackle and be ripped down at about the 26. Dab dude right there
breaking tackle
to make the stop.
Number 97, Brandon Dabdude.
Raiders going with most of their starters, even though they have a comfortable lead right now, trying to get everybody some game experience. As you probably will see some new guys coming in as the game wears on. But this heat is going to take a little bit. In this artificial turf, boy, I tell you, it makes that
it
turf.
hotter,
yeah,
huh?
It makes it a little bit hotter. So it may be 89 to 90 degrees, but you can bet on the surface. It's well over 100 degrees to the heat index.
3 wide receivers to the near side. Haynes wants to pass, tosses it straight over the middle, complete on the play to Martin. Martin will pick up a first down across the 40 up to the 44-yard line. Lambert finally drags Martin down. Good-looking route that time, run by Travis Martin.
Yeah, he ran a curl route, and Martin is not the fastest of the receivers, but he's got good hands, only 5'8", 161, but he is a good athlete, and he reads the defensive backs very well and knows how to find the open crease for Hayes to hit him with a pass, which just happened.
Four wide receivers for the Rams. We're playing catch-up here in the second quarter. Holmes tripped up at the line of scrimmage, pick up 2. Clock rolling, just around 9 minutes left here in the first half. 35-0 Rummel Bulge.
The thing about Rummel right now, they're expecting them to pass. They got a 5-man front. They're playing the defensive backs. They got 4 defensive backs, but they have 2 linebackers, and they're playing them good ways off the line of scrimmage in that middle zone there, trying to cut off the square-in routes and those quick curl routes and things like that. So linebackers have to be pretty athletic when you play this kind of defense.
Right there, Chris. Get ready. Slide. Slide.
That's Martin in motion right to left. Haynes with a flag down will complete the ball to Holmes, who will get stopped just into Raider territory at the 49 by Lambert, but let's read the flag.
Holmes is run out of bounds by number 27, Pat Fleming. Flag on the play.
Motion the call against Carver, so this one will come back.
The thing about the Rummel captain right there, that's Chris Block talking to Efren Macalusa. But you have to maintain some type of drive here as they go into half. Only 8 minutes and 21 seconds remaining before the halftime break, and the Carver Rams need something positive to happen here coming out of the second half. 35 points is a lot of points, but with the wide open offense the Carver Rams have, I wouldn't put anything past them. They have some outstanding receivers and athletes, and this is going to be a game in the second half, I can tell you.
Second down and 14 here, the Carver.
Second and 14. Haynes tosses the ball to Holmes, in and out of his hands.
Haynes pass intended for Gerald Holmes.
Jeff Lambert on the coverage, blanketing Holmes.
Coverage for the Raiders.
Hayes just rolls a little bit, looking for a receiver. Kind of tough catch to make, right off his fingertips. You got to make those catches, but that's not an easy catch. A little low.
Steve Carroll down on the sideline. He's got this report for us. Steve?
Yeah, it's a nice breeze blowing down here. It is a little hot here on the AstroTurf. By the way, Carver doing a better job, quarterback getting the snap of the football from the center this particular time. And I think it boils down to a matter of confidence, guys. That's what happened during the first quarter when you had a lot of turnovers, and then the quarterback doesn't know if he's going to get the snap the next time. So they've done a better job this time.
Haynes airs it out deep down the field. Incomplete, way out of bounds. Thanks, Steve. Looking for Mitchell. That'll bring up fourth down. And Renee, excuse me there, but you would think in week 4 that a quarterback-center exchange would be something that's taken care of already.
Well, it could be a number of things. It could be an injury involved or just a new center. You know, but you know, those things happen, and you just have to iron them out. You can work on them, and Coach Phillips right now giving instructions to Stamps and company. And I think they will work on it next time they have the ball. They will get the ball back, I'm sure, before this second quarter is over.
Celestine set to punt. High, wobbly kick. Fair catch called by Velasquez and made, and it'll be 1st and 10 for the Raiders. They'll put it in play at their own 30-yard line. 35-0, Rummel on top. 7:44 left here in the first half as you're enjoying the WHNO High School Game of the Week.
John Curtis Christian School, founded in 1962, provides a quality Christian education to students preschool through 12th grade throughout the metropolitan area. An accelerated program begins in the lower school and continues into an honors program in junior and senior high. High school students graduate with 28 Carnegie units, and their curriculum in math and sciences includes trig, calculus, college algebra, analytical geometry, chemistry, human physiology, and physics. Students in yearbook, newspaper, and communication classes produce publications and videos using the latest software. Extracurricular activities are an important part of the Curtis experience. Students are actively involved in the school and community through organizations like Key Club, Beta Club, National Honor Society, Interact Club, and Fellowship of Christian Athletes. The philosophy of the John Curtis Christian School is to develop the whole child. Students experience spiritual and academic growth as part of their school experience at John Curtis Christian School.
You have been chosen by God to lead his people. As a pastor, this call has become your mission. Now you have the opportunity to lead his people to a place that will change their lives forever. Pick up the torch carried for so many years by Dr. Lester Sumrall and lead your flock to Israel. Join the Lassie family on a 10-day pilgrimage to the Holy Land this November. Each day, you and a group from your own church can experience the Bible in a new light. Sail on the Sea of Galilee, worship in the upper room, meditate and remember Christ at Golgotha. In Jerusalem, you're invited to attend ministry conferences at no extra charge. Hosted by Steve Sumrall and John Avanzini, the conferences focus on building financial security through biblical teachings. Dr. Sumrall's vision to win 1 million souls to Jesus Christ is still very much alive. This incredible journey to the chosen land will revive you and your congregation, equipping you to continue in God's work. Your deposit is due by August 29th. Call 219-291-8200 or 800-685-3732 for more information.
Tired of struggling to remove unwanted hair? Then stop! Introducing Epple-Stop Plus with vitamin E, the amazing European system that not only removes unwanted hair, but stops it from growing back. It's not a wax, but a natural vitamin E lotion that instantly and painlessly dissolves the entire hair. And Epple-Stop Vitamin E Spray stops it from growing back as it nourishes your skin for beautiful hair-free legs you never have to shave again. Look, we used a razor on one side, Epple-Stop Plus on the other. Days later, the Epple-Stop Plus side is still smooth.
I used Stop Plus 4 months ago, and there's no more embarrassing facial hair.
Stop shaving, stop waxing, stop wasting money. Stop Plus is the fastest, easiest way to remove unwanted hair. Order now and get our smoothing thigh cream, a $20 value free. Call now.
Order your Stop Plus for $29.95 plus $8.95 shipping. If not completely satisfied with Stop Plus, keep the thigh cream at $20 value as our gift. Call 1-800-930-1144.
On first down, Michael Burks rolls right, and Nehemiah Washington comes up and actually drops Burks behind the line of scrimmage. So it'll be second down and 11. Burks unofficially 11 carries, 142 yards so far for the game, Renee. And, of course, a couple of touchdowns to go along with that.
And the first half isn't over yet.
Seelig sees something that he doesn't like, and he'll call a timeout, spending the Raiders' first timeout here in the first half. As the Raiders have a 35-0 lead at this juncture. And, you know, Renee, you've got to wonder what's going through the mind of the Carver Rams. Last week they lose 42-0 to Jesuit. This week, Rummel ahead 35-0 in the second quarter. That's got to be a tough mental mountain with which to climb.
Into the Carver Rams do have some athletes that can turn the season around, and as they get into district, they have the opportunity to make this a good 1997 for them. You know, the competition they've played has been very tough. The Rummels and the Jesuits in the Catholic League, you expect those teams to perhaps be there when the smoke clears. So this is not easy competition that Carver has been playing against, and so this is kind of a tough judge how a gauge on how they've done thus far. I suspect that the Carver Rams, you'll hear from them as they get into district play and as the 1997 season winds down.
Second and 11 for the Raiders. Brian Richardson in at fullback. Burks with the call. He'll be met at the line of scrimmage. Pick up one, maybe two. Not much more. So we'll call it third down. Speaking about Carver and district, you know, 4A, Renee, was really one of the classes that got jostled around the most in the reclassification this year, as Carver finds itself with Curtis, Carr, and Walker, along with Clark, McMain, and Franklin. Ben Franklin's winning some ball games this year, so that's going to be a tough district. Burks on the near side, out of one tackle, turning it up the field. Look out. Across midfield, down to the 40. That's an unnecessary push out of frustration after the play is well over. So that'll add another 15 onto the end of Burks' run for a late hit.
There's a little frustration there, and Cedric has got to take it out on someone, I guess. And it's kind of tough to hold yourself up sometimes. You get that close to the sidelines. He could have done it. You know, sometimes you make the trip all the way over there. That's the mentality of a linebacker, and I had to give him a little shove just to let him know he's there. And sometimes a shot like that, even though it'll carry a penalty with it, will fire up your team and, you know, sometimes pick you up a little bit and show the other players that you have to play sideline on sideline. Of course, when you step outside that line, that's when action stops.
First and 10 Raiders.
So the Raiders will play first and 10 from the 27. As Seelig is beneath center, with Richardson and Burks in the backfield. That's Richardson with the call, straight ahead. Tough running on the inside. Favaroth making the stop. That'll pick up a couple. You know, in that District 10-4A, that Carver belongs, Renee. Many people think that the district championship decided last night between Curtis and Walker, as Curtis easily won that game. But don't count out this Carver team, as you mentioned. Certainly don't count out Don Watney and Carr, as that'll be, they always play tough. That's going to be a real interesting district to watch over the next 2 years. Burks over the right side, cuts it at the 20, spinning inside the 15, down till about the 11, That'll be a Raider first down. Martin comes up to make the stop.
Burns off the right side.
So the Raider offensive line continuing to work hard here with 5:29 left in the first half, leading this game 35-0.
Good block downfield by fullback Ryan Richardson along with his teammates, and allows Michael Burks to get down to the field and get into the secondary. And Michael Burks is doing an outstanding job, but he's getting some good blocking from his teammates, and some you don't always see on camera, but good blocking by the fullback and receivers downfield.
Burks from the 11 trying to turn the corner. Will at the 5 into the end zone. Touchdown, Michael Burks, his third of the game. Elfridge was the last man there, and Burks carried him into the end zone. The Raiders are an extra point shy of going up on this one, 42-0.
He put on the afterburners and just carried Elfies into the end zone. Michael Burks, as you said, his third touchdown of the game, is 7th of the season. Good kickout block right there allows Burks to get outside, and it's a mismatch. Once again, Poche blocking down the field in a hand-to-hand combat at the goal line with the defensive backs, and Burks is just outmatches Elfies as he carries the smaller 143-pound sophomore into the end zone.
Flag before Fuchs can attempt his extra point. We'll try to unravel it and see if, looks like the infraction is against Carver. And it is. Illegal equipment is the call against the Rams. So that'll move Fuchs a little bit closer. His extra point is up and good. 42-0, Raiders on top. Inside of 5 minutes left here in the first half. You're watching the WHNO High School Game of the Week.
Diabetics, important notice. You may be eligible to receive your diabetic supplies at no cost to you. That's right, no cost to you. If you are on Medicare or have private insurance, call toll-free 1-800-875-9387 for all the details from the Diabetic Supply Foundation. Call now, 1-800-875-9387.
Would you like a better paying job? Professional Career Development Institute can train you at home in just a few months for one of America's 15 top career opportunities. Whether your dream is to be your own boss or to work for an employer, call for free literature on any one of America's top career choices. Train at home for the job you've always wanted and earn this nationally recognized diploma. Take a look at PCDI's exciting career opportunities.
Medical transcription, paralegal, veterinary assistant, computer training, fitness and nutrition, interior decorating, electrician, child daycare, conservation outdoors, travel agent, locksmithing, medical dental office assistant, home inspection, bookkeeping, accounting, or get your high school diploma.
Call for free literature.
Last year, and he's entering his sophomore year, makes very few mental mistakes from his cornerback position. Very mature, only a sophomore. He's got 2 more years with the Rams, and you'll hear a lot from Elfies before his days are over.
Line arise Elfies, a 90-yard kickoff return for the score. The penalty is excessive celebration against the Rams.
Only 5'8", 143. Elfies, surprising balance and strength for such a small individual. But boy, he's got those afterburners with the 4-4, and you're not going to catch him as he crosses the end zone, into the end zone, and excessive celebration. But I tell you what, the Carver Rams needed something positive for Coach Jack Phillips right there, and his team is they're down 42-6 with 4 minutes remaining here in the second quarter.
And the Rams will take a timeout to talk about what strategy they'll play, trailing by such a large margin, and the line of scrimmage backed up to the 18.
You know, I said this kid plays off guard for the Carver Ram team. He's only 5'8", with a 37-inch vertical jump. He's got to play near the rim a little bit, doesn't he?
I'd say so, huh?
Simple mathematics has to put you up near the rim, and I guess it's got to be quite embarrassing. He must have put some taller players to shame when a 5'8" guy stuffs it on a 6'8" or 6'9" player. This guy can sky a little bit.
Basketball will be here before you know it.
Right around the corner.
Well, we're going to try an extra point from 35 yards out, and Elfisa's extra point attempt is definitely no good. Blocked at the line of scrimmage. So we'll stay at 42-6. Rummel on top. Our own Steve Carroll down on the sideline. Steve, take it.
I'm going to tell you guys something. That's one of the most remarkable kickoff returns I've ever seen. I was standing at the 25, 30-yard line when Alfiz broke at least 4 or 5 tackles, sped away. Now, on the other side, that's the kind of job they've been doing on Burks, Carver defensively. You really have to get both arms around a guy like Burks to bring him down. That's why he's been such an effective runner, but that's one of the best runs I've seen in a long time, guys.
Thanks, Steve. It's a pretty good run that from this vantage point up here as well.
It's a little bit cooler when we are watching the game than it was when Steve is watching it.
Let's not rub it in.
Just a little balance here, and just juking moves and short choppy steps, then he strides, hits the afterburners after he breaks this next tackle right here.
When he cuts it outside right here, that's the key.
That's why he puts on the jets and displays that 4-4 speed, and you're not going to catch Alfiz from the side or from the rear. It's just, I think Steve heard beep beep as he went by.
Well, this is a unique situation for the Raiders. Kick returning. Jeremy Roussel is back deep, and he'll try it out. Elfiz will be the man to put his foot into the ball.
You'll hear about him for the next 2 years. You'll hear about Elfiz once again quite often. And again, they compare him favorably to Marshall Falk as an athlete, because Marshall Falk played a number of positions when he came out of Carver.
Elfiz, high kick. That'll be taken at the 6 by Roussel. Straight up the middle. Now he'll cut it outside at the 23, and Roussel's got a little room. Across the 40 up to the 43-yard line. Good field position once again for the Raiders. Nice return that time by the Rummel special teams unit.
Good look at Ryman Alley right there. It comes off the field after blocking a couple of Ram players on the kickoff return, and the starting offense stays on the field, Sealing and company, but we can expect to see Darius Wilson, the freshman, #1, if not here in the second quarter as we begin the second half. You hear Darius Wilson and Stites will come in, the running back, the freshman running back. I think Coach Jay Roth will get some fresh troops in and get some game experience.
Carver takes a timeout. They'd like to discuss it with 4:27 left in the first half. And Rummel on top, 42-6. You're watching the WHNO High School Game of the Week.
The future of Jefferson is now here. The Hilario.
First and 15. Martinez with the carry. Big hole for him. And he'll get up to the 45. Well, coming into this game, Martinez had 3 carries for 8 yards. So he may have picked up close to his season totals there on one run. So it'll be second down. Now checking into the Raider backfield is Deron Parquette, sophomore running back. Seelig still beneath center. Everybody coming for Carver. Parquette gets it, and he stopped short of the 50 after a gain of about 3.
The pursuit caught him from behind. That's the only problem with moves sometimes when you have to put a move or a juke move on the defensive back. The pursuit will catch you. What happened in Parquette's situation just now. But eating clock up right here, and Jay Roth getting some new troops in, and Coach Phillips hoping for a turnover to get the ball back in his hands and maybe get a scoring opportunity before the first half comes to a close.
Seelig out to Martinez, rolling right across the 45 up to the 47. He'll be short of the first down. And so the Raiders will punt for the first time today. Unofficially for Burks, our total's up here, 15 carries, 194 yards.
Not a bad day.
You know, when it comes time to pick the MVP of this game, this may be one of the few games we pick someone who works less than a half.
Well, Burks did the most with his opportunities. Good blocking right here. Good block right there by Chatelaine. Good seal block. As Martinez scoots to the outside before Favreau brings him down. But there will be a punting situation for the Raiders.
Pat Murphy in to punt. Clean snap. Murphy puts his foot to a high, wobbly kick. That'll bound out of bounds at about the 27-yard line. So it'll be 1st and 10 for the Carver Rams, as they'll have 2:10 with which to work, and all 3 of their timeouts before the first half ends. The Rummel faithful making the trip from Metairie to City Park, as Rummel is actually, in this game, playing as the home team.
Yes.
Even though they're not at Yenny Stadium.
Well, I guess they picked home team for the Hannon Classic, and this is not considered a home game, I would guess.
Haynes to Holmes on the inside, tough running for Gerald Holmes. Not much there. Kirkland making the stop.
Kirkley mans that will linebacker position. Only a junior, but he really unloads. If there's one hitter for the Rummel defense, if there's a crash or a smash or a loud tackle, usually it's Kirkley. Again, he's, he not only excels on the football field, he was 4th in the district in the discus in the track. So he's not only a good football player, he converts over the track in the spring.
Haynes looks to throw, does, in and out of the hands of his intended receiver, incomplete, as Stamps could not hold on to it.
You look at the receivers of the Carver Rams. You have Howard and Martin are juniors. Pichon and Stamps are sophomores. So this team is going to get better. Of course, Hayes is moving on, but you got receivers when they come in with experience. This team will get better in 98 and 99.
Yeah, that receiving core will all be back next year, and that's what's really catapulted Carver in the past when they've had successful years, has been its passing game. Screen pass is incomplete to Holmes. I can remember covering a Carver game 2 years ago where 5 players attempted a pass in the game at some point in the game. And that's just how much they relied on the pass at that time. It was as common to throw the ball as it was to run it. And the negative to that for a team is what you're seeing right now, and that is when the pass doesn't work or you can't complete your passes and move the chains, you're in and out in a hurry, and your defense is back on the field. So you consequently have a lot of 1-minute, 2-minute drives that may not go anywhere. And of course, if the pass is working, it works out great. This is Carlos Velasquez on the punt return, and he'll make it inside the 25 down to about the 23. So once again, a short field for the Rummel Raiders with which to work in a short amount of time, 1:07 before the first half expires.
Velasquez shows he can do it besides being a cornerback, and he may be the best athlete back there in the secondary. With his 4.6 speed, a junior, he will be back for the 98 season with just 67 ticks to go before the halftime break. The Raiders knocking on the door at the 22-yard line and have an opportunity to maybe go up, increase this lead.
Richardson in parquet behind Seelig, who fumbles the ball, and Richardson falls on it. So the second Raider fumble of the game ends up in friendly hands.
And a little fumbled snap right here with Seelig, and Ryan Richardson, the fullback, jumps on it. And well, I want to tell you about Ryan Richardson. He had reconstructive knee surgery. He has really come back. He is what you call an overachiever. This kid has really worked hard. I know him. I coached him at the playground level. In spite of my coaching, he's become a good player.
Richardson running straight ahead, carrying tacklers with him. I know that's not the style you played, carrying people with you. You'd go down on the first hit, right?
Tell you what, I'm proud of that kid. He's, again, he's reconstructive knee surgery. You see the bandage on his right knee, but really worked hard, and one of many, many high school players that overcome adversity and lay it on the field and really empty their bucket each and every week.
Raiders call timeout there with 17 seconds left. They'd like to talk about it, as they'll have a 3rd and 10 from the Carver 22. Strategy for the Raiders possibly, but they're certainly within field goal range here. They may take 1 or 2 shots into the end zone. Maybe 1 shot in the end zone, or try to pick up a first down and have a 2nd shot at the end zone.
Well, he has Parquette in there. Parquette has some good speed, a 4'6" guy. He spells Burks when Burks comes out. And Parquette has the opportunity to, you know, Parquette is a guy, we're going to talk about him in the second half. He lettered in 4 sports last year at Rummel as a freshman. So, you know, as Burks hands the baton on to Parquette next year, you hear a lot of Darren Parquette in the Rummel Raider backfield.
Parquette, right side. Swings across the 20, flags fly. Parquette still moving the stack. Almost down to the 15. But it looked like a hold on the far side. That's a long block that must be held. And it looked like one of the tight ends on that side trying to go out and hold that long block was unable to do so without an infraction. Bleed.
There is no pressure at this standpoint.
That is not a textbook definition of pressure. A kick to go up by 39. Out of the hold of Darius Wilson, the backup quarterback. The kick, just short and to the left. And that's the end of the first half. Raiders still in control, 42-6. Rummel on top of Carver in this non-district matchup here at Tad Gormley. Steve Carroll down on the field. Let's check in with him. Steve?
Hey guys, I'm down here just getting ready for a little get-together here. Jay Roth, as he leaves the field, he's talking to the official here, so I don't want to interrupt him right now, but I'll get some thoughts as he's going off the field right now. Jay, can I just quickly get a thought from you? How about your impressions of the first half?
It was the best first half we played all year. Up to this point, we hadn't scored a touchdown in the first half. Defense scored 2, offense scored 4, so I was happy.
What will you tell your players here at halftime with a big lead?
No letdown, especially on defense. We're going to play the 2s on offense, come out right away with the 2s on offense. But on defense, we can't give them easy scores like the kickoff return.
Okay, thanks very much.
Thank you.
That's Jay Roth, the head football coach at Rummel, going to talk to his team at halftime, guys, and I made it out here. Back to you.
Thanks, Steve. Bet you didn't know that halftime reporting and field reporting could be an athletic venture, but that's how it's turned out for you here in the first half. 42-6, all Raiders here in this ball game over the Rams. As you're watching the WHNO High School Game of the Week.
The WHNO High School Game of the Week is brought to you by Jefferson Furniture, John Curtis Christian School, Archbishop Rummel High School, Louisiana Lift and Equipment Company, the Hilario Event Center, and WHNO TV 20.
Funky, what are you doing? I'm painting like Helm because it's Helm's fantastic fall sale. And I'm slapping on the savings. I'm rolling out the specials. I'm pulling on the discounts with savings like these. So start painting like Helm without good prices, Funky. What? Great prices, Funky. What? Incredible prices, Funky. That's more like it.
And supply. Would you like a better paying job? Professional Career Development Institute can train you at home in just a few months for one of America's 15 top career opportunities. Whether your dream is to be your own boss or to work for an employer, call for free literature on any one of America's top career choices. Train at home for the job you've always wanted and earn this nationally recognized diploma. Take a look at PCDI's exciting career opportunities.
Medical transcription, paralegal, veterinary assistant, computer training, fitness and nutrition, interior decorating, electrician, child daycare, conservation outdoors, travel agent, locksmithing, medical dental office assistant, home inspection, bookkeeping, accounting, or get your high school diploma.
Call for free literature.
Darius Wilson trotting in.
Wilson is a freshman, and he's a guy, as you said, Gerald. He's going to be the future of this team in years to come for the next 3 years. He's a point guard in basketball, so a multi-talented athlete. Runner, good vision, good instincts.
Parquet with the carry. Through the line, bounces outside, turning it up at the 30. Reverses his field at the 40. All the way up to the 45-yard line before Darren Parquet is ridden out of bounds. Favaroff with the stop, but not before Parquet picks up significant yardage up to the 45 and a Raider first down. You know, you mentioned in the first half, Renee, that Parquet lettered in 4 sports. That's almost unheard of at a school the size of Rummel. At a 5A school, that may be common at some of the smaller schools where athletes double up, but at the larger schools where you have specialization, you have a baseball player, a basketball player, a kid who runs track, they don't really cross over. He not only did it, he did it as a freshman. As Parquet will take the handoff again, try on the right side, not pick up much, maybe 1 before he's driven back. That really shows Parquet's versatility when you can letter in 4 sports.
Yeah, and he's got good size. He's 6'1", 190, 195, got a 4.6 speed, and he'll be the main bell cow next year when Michael Burks moves on. He's a north-south runner, but he can bounce it outside, as he showed you, and got good instincts, can find the crack, the opening in the defense.
Define bell cow, please.
The main guy.
Gotcha.
The go-to guy.
I'm with you. Second down for Wilson and the Raider offense. Richardson, the fullback, straight up the middle. He'll get popped right at the 50. Ball comes loose, but it's after the play was whistled dead. You know, Richardson in for Darren Parquet. He's the usual fullback. Parquet last week had a 24-yard touchdown run in the win over South Lafourche, the 21-14 win over South Lafourche. Went out with an injury, and I know that was one of Jay Roth's concerns before this game was about the fullback position, as Ryan Richardson would have to come in for Darren Parquet, but Richardson has responded well, Renee, in this game.
Well, Parquet is a guy who can play fullback or tailback, and this experience this year is going to do him extremely well.
Wilson turns it upfield, and he'll pick up the first down as he'll get down to about the 40-yard line before he's finally ridden down. Christie making the stop. Wilson, a decent runner, 6 carries, 22 yards coming into this game. He's also attempted 3 passes, completing 2 for 30 yards and 1 interception.
He didn't have the blinding speed that a Burks or a Parquet may have. He's got that uncanny ability, a good sense, a good quarterback, and he may start at point guard as a freshman for the varsity this year.
Option. Parquet near side. Makes the turn at the 30. It's driven out of bounds short of the 25. That was the play that worked so well for Rummel in the first half with Burks sweeping right. Parquet sweeps right. It picks up a first down for the Raiders. So the names have changed on the Raider offense, but the results are very similar. As Rummel has taken the opening kickoff here of the second half and has marched down the field to the 27-yard line of the Carver Rams. Already leading 42-6, Raiders looking for more.
You know, the Raiders have brought in some substitutes, but sometimes you have more problems. When I say more problems, Carver may have more problems bringing in substitutes because that's when Rummel, their second unit, wants to prove they need to be on the field more often, and that's when the score may go even higher.
Parquette, nominal gain of 1. It's kind of a fine line, Renee, because you don't want to leave your starters in there too long. Coaches respect one another, and programs respect one another, of course, and you also don't want to run the risk of having an injury to one of your starters during a time that is really not necessary to have them in there. But like as you allude to, sometimes a second or third string guy will get in, and he'll really go at it hard to prove to the coaches what he can and can't do out there.
Yeah, these young guys are juiced up, and they want their opportunity, and they want to make the most of it.
Wilson puts Richardson in motion. Now he resets on the left-hand side. Play action. No, check that. Parquette with the ball. Parquette turning it at the 15, down to the 10, lowers his shoulder, and it'll be first and goal for the Raiders. Excellent play action pass by Darius Wilson to carry that one out. He had me fooled as he really showed a nice head bob like he was protecting the football and getting ready to show it. Watch it right here.
Gives it to Parquette. He bounces it outside, showing that 4.5, 4.6 speed. Keeps the ball in the left hand. He keeps that inside hand free and just lowers the shoulder right here. Gets cut down inside the 5. And Alfiz once again makes the tackle.
24-yard pickup for Parquet. First and goal from the 3. Richardson. Check that. Martinez with the ball. Stopped just short of the goal line. Donald Martinez does not stick it in. Carver Rams shaken up down on the field. Very slow to get up. And we'll get some assistance to come off the field. That's Walter Falls. Will trot out of the game. Second and goal from the 1. Oh, check that, the 2. Full house backfield for Wilson. Floyd Baptiste coming in off the sideline for the injured Ram player. Wilson calls for the ball to Martinez, looking for the end zone. Touchdown, Rummel. Well, I haven't seen an official signal yet. It looked like he pounced in. No, just shy. Just shy.
You see the replay right now. He got to have a nose for the goal right here, and he just got hit prior to getting into breaking that plane. Got turned back, and oh boy, he wants that end zone real. But you can see how close he put it, right within a sniffle of getting into the end zone, but he was already down. He crossed the plane, but he was already down.
Third and goal. Martinez this time goes in. Much easier. And the Raider lead has bulged to 48-6. The extra point to follow. 7th touchdown of the game for the Raiders. Well, you heard Jay Roth say it. Tell it to Steve Carroll as he came off the field, Renee. Probably the best half of football the Raiders played in the first half all season long.
Good surge, offensive surge up front right here. You can see explosion off the line by the offensive front, and allows Martinez a good cushion of a yard or two just to get into the end zone, and takes advantage of it and falls into the promised land for another score, and the Raiders have an opportunity to go up 49-6 with the extra point upcoming.
Fuchs in to attempt the extra point out of the hold of Wilson. It's up and good. 49-6. Raiders on top of the Rams. 6:33 left in the third quarter. Our Steve Carroll is down on the sidelines and checks in with us. Steve?
First of all, Nehemiah Washington missed just one play for Carver. He was back in the lineup as Rummel drove down the field. Just want to comment on Darius Wilson, the freshman quarterback. I watched him every step of the way on that drive for Rummel. Very confident, mature young man, executed properly, and did a good job. Even though his team has a big lead, he still has to execute, and he did a good job that first time up the field for them. Back up to you guys.
Thanks, Steve.
Well, you know, the thing is that Darius Wilson started 2 games this year already, so this is not as, you know, he's been there before. That last Rummel drive, 77 yards on 10 plays, almost 5 minutes off the clock. The final was a 2-yard, call it a 6-inch dive by Donald Martinez. Extra point was good, so the Raiders lead 49-6 with 6:33 remaining in the third period.
Bouvier puts his foot to the ball. It knuckles out of bounds. Well, last time Carver chose not to take it at the 35 and to have Rummel kick it again. We'll see if they rethink that earlier decision here. A 10-play drive for Rummel, Renee. Rummel had 3 touchdowns in the first half, 3 touchdowns coming on 10 plays total. So right there you see him hold the ball for a little bit longer and give the defense a break. And Carver will elect to start the offensive possession at its own 35-yard line.
Be interesting to see what Coach Jack Phillips and his staff, what changes they may have made for the second half here. And good look at Coach J. Roth cooling off, and I'm sure Carver would like that offense to cool off a little bit. But here we go with the Rams and with their wide receiver set.
3 wide receivers to the near side. Haynes in the pocket, sacked. First sack of the game for Rummel as Mike Dubuque comes in and makes the stop.
Yeah, it's Michael Dubuque. He's a sophomore and did an outstanding job just beating the tackle. You can see he just beat the tackle outside wide. And tenacious pass rush and just brought Hayes down to the ground. It wasn't an easy task for Michael Dubuque, and got an opportunity to play, and he's making the most of it.
Loss on the play of 7. It'll be 2nd and 17. With the great game defensively Rummel has played here today, Renee, it's kind of surprising that halfway through the third quarter, the Raider defense gets its first sack. Haynes rolls right, throws low, and incomplete. So it'll bring up 3rd down.
A lot of new players in the game for the Rummel Raiders. We'll pass the names on as we get to them. But Hayes and company stay on the field for the Carver Rams. Trying to fight an uphill battle, 49-6. The Rams fighting a 43-point deficit with 5:41 remaining here in the third quarter.
Well, if you'd like to put a couple of scores on the board before this game is over, you want to do something with your first possession of the second half. So this 3rd and 17 would be an important play here for Carver to try to accomplish that. Haynes fires the ball down the field, incomplete, enough for a first down. Tyrone Pichon picks it up, and he is right at the stick.
Pichon came back a little bit to Hayes, and he runs those great routes, and we mentioned that he's very mature for a sophomore, and came back with his 4.4 speed. Good look at some of the crowd right there, but Pichon running a good route, breaking it off and helping Hayes out in his pass route.
And it is enough for a first down, 1st and 10 for Carver. Once again, Dubuque in there with a 2nd sack. So Dubuque seemed to be the opportunity that the Raiders were not picking up before with pressure on quarterback Delvin Haynes. So Dubuque picks up his 2nd sack, this time moving the ball back to the 34.
And he brings the heat from the right side, the left side of the offense, and just, boy, he really buries Hayes right here. Just won't let go. Got a bulldog by the horns and just pulls him to the ground. A 2nd sack, as you mentioned, and a good effort by the Rummel defense.
High snap. Haynes comes down with it. Stands in the pocket. Tosses the ball. Incomplete. Batted away by Jason Mayenza. Stamps the intended receiver down the field. Got a view just a moment ago of the Brother Martin football team that has come and waiting to play the 3rd game of this Hannon Football Classic. They will take on the Shaw Eagles next, and later tonight, St. Augustine and De La Salle, an all-Catholic League matchup later on this evening. Lots of football still to be played here today at Tad Gormley. 3rd and 22 for Haynes. He'll roll outside, wide open down the field, incomplete is Martin. Into Raider territory, down to the 38. And once again, living dangerously, Carver faces a 3rd and long and converts.
And Travis Martin skies high for this catch, catches it with his hands, as all good receivers do. Hayes drops back, looking for a receiver, dials long, having some heat put on him, applied to him, and Martin makes the grab, comes down and scoots up the sidelines before he's brought down for a good gain.
Haynes incomplete to Martin on the rollout on the right-hand side. And so it'll be 2nd and 10. This is probably Carver's deepest penetration since their opening drive of the game. Down to the Rummel 38. And the center to quarterback exchange that haunted Carver in the first half looks to be solved. Haynes wants to pass, does, complete to Stamps. He can't shake the tackle of Lammy. And there's no gain on the play, so it'll be 3rd down. Timeout for a shaken up Raider down on the field.
Lammy injured his knee right here making the tackle, and may have just caught. May just be a cramp. You know, who knows if, hopefully it's not severe, but he may have just got a cramp. It is very hot down there, and sometimes he's moving, seems to be moving everything. They're testing his knee out, but it's very hot down there.
Could be a cramp as he's getting a calf rubbed down.
He's okay.
49-6 our score. We've got a little over 3 minutes left here in the 3rd quarter. So you're watching the WHNO High School Game of the Week.
There are saints all over this great city. In the schools, in the offices, on the streets, and yes, even in the streetcars. Hello, I'm David Crosby, pastor of New Orleans First Baptist Church, inviting you to join us every Sunday morning at 10:30 as we together learn how to live saint-worthy lives in this great city. Join us right here on Channel 20, WHNO.
Hi, Bob Vila here to show you a unique new Craftsman tool no home should be without.
Craftsman Handy-Cut utility cutters. But one tool you can count on for all kinds of tough cutting jobs. Craftsman Handy-Cut does the job of utility knives, carpet knives, shears, shop cutters, and more. Look how tough it is to make a good cut through this damaged garden hose with a utility knife. Craftsman Handy-Cut gets it done in one clean cut. It's a terrific small branch and shrub pruner. Shears or shop cutters can't trim vinyl flooring as easily as the Craftsman Handy-Cut. Use the Craftsman Handy-Cut to cut nearly any common household material, including rope, plastic, leather, vinyl, and rubber. Call now, and you can order your Craftsman Handy-Cut for only $19.99. And remember, when you buy from Sears, your satisfaction is guaranteed or your money back.
To order your Craftsman Handy-Cut, get your Sears card or the credit card ready and call 1-800-204-4949. That's 1-800-204-4949. Call right now.
The Nordic Flex Ultra Lift from Nordic Track. The best way to get the body you've always wanted. Nordic Flex is engineered to give you a faster, safer strength training workout in 5 ways. First, Nordic Flex gives you a superior workout. Its unique 4-bar linkage system enables you to lift real weight without cumbersome weight stacks. Second, the Nordic Flex's single-station design reduces the time you spend between exercises for a faster workout. Third, the ergonomic design of Nordic Flex promotes proper lifting form, enabling you to achieve results faster and safer. Fourth, Nordic Flex comes with an integrated electronic computer that tracks your progress and keeps you motivated. Fifth, Nordic Flex was designed with the quality and durability of a health club machine. At just $39.95 per month, it represents the best value in fitness today. Take the 90-day Nordic Flex challenge. If you're not well on your way to the body you've always wanted, simply return it for a refund of the purchase price. Order now and we'll include free the Ultra Lift personal training video, wall chart, and guide with tips on all 35 exercises. A $30 value. Call now.
On 3rd down and 9, Holmes gets the carry. He'll make it down to about the 36. So trailing by 43, one would think Carver would certainly be in a automatic conversion mode on 4th down. It'll be 4th down and a long 7 or a short 8.
They're filling their gaps, and it's just tough running against that defense. Not much running room, not many creases, and the hole closes mighty quick for the Carver Ram running backs. And now they're facing a 4th down situation. Of course, they're going to go for it.
Haynes tosses the ball incomplete. Almost picked off by Robbie Hoffman, who was down the field. Pichon, the intended receiver, so the Raiders will take over on downs.
Good heat applied by the Rummel Raider defense up front. Hayes dials for Pichon, just knocked away, as we mentioned by Hoffman, a junior linebacker, and 2:35 stopping the clock. When we get an opportunity, I'd like to take a look at the Rummel Raider mascot. You talk about the heat on the field. Take a look at this guy and see how hot it must be in that costume. Good look at the sun-drenched Raider faithful out here this evening. A nice turnout. Everywhere the Raiders play is always a good turnout.
1st and 10 for Wilson. Motion to Martinez, will take the ball and puncture the 40 and get up to the 42-yard line. Steve Carroll down on the field. Let's take it down to him. Steve?
Just want to report, guys, on the injury to Pat Lamey. Indeed, it was cramps. It's because of the heat here on this AstroTurf, and he's okay. He'll return to action here shortly. Back up to you guys.
Thanks, Steve. Wilson to Martinez again. Nothing doing there. The interior of the Ram line there to meet him immediately. Carver Ram comes up with the ball, but it was after the whistle.
There was Lenny Stranford also jumped on the loose pigskin for the Rummel Raiders. It popped out of Martinez's grasp, and a lot of new Raiders in there, but you still have a few carryovers from the starting line. Chatelaine still in the game.
Third down and about 8 in the waning moments of the 3rd quarter. Martinez turns it up at the 40, and he'll be well shy of the 1st down, so a punting situation for the Raiders.
Both teams will regroup after this game. The Rummel Raiders have Catholic League they're getting into next year, district play, and next week, and of course the Carver Rams will have to regroup, and as they get into tough district play, which begins for them.
Murphy into punted away for the 2nd time this afternoon. High end over end kick. That'll be fielded by Elfis. Coming back the other way. Good look once again, Renee, at Michael Burks, who had about almost 200 yards of offense here in the 1st half. 3 touchdowns, one of the reasons Rummel has staked a 49-6 lead. You know, last year he split time with Sterling Green at the tailback position, and this year he's running exclusively on his own from the direction of that man, Jay Roth. So really this is, one could argue, an offense of Michael Burks, and how he runs is how the offense is able to travel.
Their styles were very similar. Sterling Green has signed, and I believe he's being redshirted, but he's up at Southern this year, and not sure if he's going to play a running back or defensive back. Good athlete, but he did split time, and their styles were somewhat similar, but there were different little wrinkles in either.
Haynes's pass is incomplete, almost picked off, so it'll be 2nd and 10. That's kind of a luxury. You can have a guy like Burks, and last year as a junior, he's not your full-time runner. He alternates every series, is how Jay Roth played it many times last year with Green and Burks.
Well, he had Parquette this year, and I think there's a little bit of a gap between Burks and Parquette. It wasn't much of a gap between Green and Burks, but next year it'll be the Parquette opportunity, and of course we'll see who fills in and fills that gap as the second back to back up Parkett.
Haynes on 2nd and 10. Airs it out. And that ball's intercepted by Mayenza. He was the only one home in center.
But shows you what kind of arm strength Hayes has. Dials long distance, and Mayenza just overthrew the receivers into coverage, and Mayenza comes up with a pick and scoots down the sidelines and does a good job running it back and puts Rummel in good field position, but now it's going to come back with a question mark.
And blocking on the return is the call against the Raiders, so that'll move the high-scoring Raider offense back. They'll put it in play from their own 25-yard line. This will be the final play of the third quarter coming up, and Rummel leading 49-6. Wilson keeps the ball on the option. It's met stiffly at the 25 and falls forward to the 26 as Chris Williams lays the lumber on him and stops him.
Chris Williams, only a sophomore. He's still learning that linebacker position on the outside and comes up and really kissed Darius Wilson pretty hard as we come to the end of the third quarter.
Rummel in charge. You're watching the WHNO High School Game of the Week.
The WHNO High School Game of the Week is brought to you by Jefferson Furniture, John Curtis Christian School, Archbishop Rummel High School, Louisiana Lift and Equipment Company, the Hilario Event Center, and WHNO TV 20.
Can you fix it?
It's not too bad. It should take $300.
$300? Where can I get some cash?
You need emergency cash? You've got it.
But my credit is horrible.
No credit check at Cash Leasing Limited. All you need is a checking account and meet some easy requirements. You need it? You got it. Call 522-CASH today.
Who was that cash cowboy?
You need it? You got it. Call Cash Leasing Limited today.
Unbelievable! Howard Berg, the world's fastest reader in the Guinness Book of Records, demonstrates his mega reading technique on national TV.
And you read this. You read this. Anybody who gets this course from yours can do what you just did. You already have the ability. I'm just showing you how to release it.
Now, unlock your natural ability to quadruple your reading speed and remember everything you read with the amazing Mega Reading Home Study course.
I highly endorse and recommend this program. Howard is the world's fastest reader. There's nothing out there like it anywhere in the world.
For business, school, or pleasure, anyone can release their super mega reading ability.
The former president of Evelynwood asked me to train his family. Now, this is a man who knows speed reading.
Mega reading is so powerful, it's even been endorsed by Maurice Thompson Jr., former president of Evelynwood. In less than 4 hours, you'll become a mega reader, too. Call the number on your screen and order Mega Reading. Not available in stores. Money back if you don't quadruple your reading speed. Call now.
Forget the pain of unsightly hair forever. Introducing IGEA, the revolutionary new system you've read about. It removes unwanted hair permanently and painlessly. No burning wax, no constant plucking. IGEA deadens the hair right down past its root. The hair slides out painlessly and never comes back. Look, shaving just cuts the hair off at the surface. Waxing rips it out painfully, and it still grows back. But IGEA sends a painless electrolytic pulse through the hair and root to the very cell that causes it to grow. The hair is released and never grows again. If it ever does, we'll give you a complete refund. IGEA comes complete with this special European cleansing gel and soothing skin lotion. Order your IGEA system now.
Order your IGEA hair removal system for 4 payments of $29.95. Receive the cleansing gel plus skin lotion, and if you're not completely satisfied, keep the beauty creams, a $40 value, as our gift. Call 1-800-735-5115.
Martinez running the ball on first down. On 2nd and 9. We'll pick up 9 and get a first down as he'll push the ball up to the 35. So the Raider offense continuing to move forward on the first play of the final quarter. Or should I say stanza. Stelz with the ball. Big hole for him. Into the secondary, carrying Carver players. Inside of the 30. Down to the 28. They'll mark it right at the 30-yard line. Elfies finally makes the stop.
Stites is just a freshman, 5'9", 185, very determined runner. And he's got a nose for the goal. As you can see, he was hit really running between the guards, and he was hit and just dragged. He's only 183 pounds, but he carried a couple of would-be tacklers along with them. Elfies with him for another, gave him a ride, and Daviel Johnson. Nice run by the freshman, Kevin Stites.
35-yard pickup. Martinez still moving on the left-hand side. A whistle to play dead. Pickup of 1, maybe 2. Gary Jenkins making the stop.
We talked about Gary Jenkins before, that he's a major college prospect. Bench press is 325, and we're not sure if he's going to play defensive line or offensive tackle or guard on the next level, but they like his feet, his determination. 6'2", 275, can coach size, so he's got the dimensions to play at the next level, and evidently he's got some ability because a lot of big schools are looking at him.
2nd and 8. Wilson puts Martinez in motion. They'll hand the ball off to Stites. And he'll get down maybe to the 29. He may have lost a yard there.
Stites may be the freshman. He's a freshman this year, but he may form that duo with Parquette next year with the departure of Michael Burks. So it may be the Stites-Parquette show. Ryan Richardson will be back. He's only a junior. And Martinez will move on as well. And as always, in this Catholic League, they just they don't regroup, they reload. And I'm sure Coach J. Roth has some freshmen that'll be moving up next year that will play for the Rummel Raider varsity in '98.
And, of course, Parquette, who's out, is a sophomore, the fullback. Pitch to Martinez, and he's drilled down in the backfield for a loss.
Next game. Y'all coming back?
Nice stop by number 54 for the Rams. As you'll see it coming right at you here.
Wilson with the good pitch. I'm going to tell you why I like that pitch. Anyway, he throws it back to Martinez. Wilson keeping the, when you do that option, you have to keep your inside hand free. In other words, when you're going left, you have to pitch with your left hand. You try to pitch with the inside hand. That's why you can fumble, and he's well coached and good technique.
Stites straight ahead, muscling down to the 25. Be well short of a first down. And the 4th down attempt fails as the Raider drive expires on downs, and Carver will come back in to put their spin on things with 8:49 left in this contest, which one may argue was decided back in the first quarter. 49-6 our count right now. Rummel on top.
I will say this for both teams. When you get a huge lead or find yourself behind, there's a tendency to kind of give up and quit and think about next week or what better times. But I've noticed Rummel has really kept the pedal to the metal, and the Carver Rams are really fighting to get back into this game, so that shows a lot of pride on both teams.
Screen to Holmes. He'll turn it up the field. Get wrestled down short of the 30. Philip Braun there, along with a host of Raider tacklers. Pickup of about 4. It'll be 2nd and 6.
Steven Zagari came from his linebacker position and got a hat on the ball right here. You can see that's Braun kind of sniffing out the play and got some help from Maenza. So good gang tackling by the Rummel Raiders, and now it's a 2nd down with 7:48 remaining here in the final period.
Movement early along the line. Appeared that the Raiders may have been drawn off. Jack Phillips Renee, the longtime head coach here at Carver, a longtime assistant coach, now taking over in year 1 after the departure of Wayne Reese up to Washington Marion in Lake Charles. And I don't quite know if a coach would question some of his decisions at this point, but he's certainly having a rough start to his head coaching career this year as Carver's on the verge of falling to 0-4.
Wayne Reese did a good job, and he put a good staff together. They're running this show now.
Haynes feeling some pressure, wrapped up in the backfield and dropped. David Norman was there. Dabdude was there. Braun was there. The house was there.
And the house collapsed just now. Came crashing in, and Norman and Dabdude really collapsed the foundation on Haynes, and he'll be looking at a 3rd and long situation.
Flag before this 3rd and 14 attempt can get underway for Carver. You know, a lot of times when a long-time coach leaves, it takes a while for a program to find its own identity. I'm sure Jack Phillips will, being an assistant for such a long time under Wayne Reese, will play many of the same schemes that these Ram players are accustomed to. However, I'm sure he also wants to put his own spin on things. And sometimes the transition can be easy, and sometimes it can be rocky. Pass is complete to Bichon up to the 24. I'll bring up 4th down and about 11.
Once again, Bichon only a sophomore. He's gained some valuable experience, and he will be a threat in years to come for the Carver Rams. I think you'll hear his name quite often in as a future college prospect. Good catch, not an easy catch. This is the Carver Rams have not had a losing season since 1986, and that was prior to Marshall Falk coming aboard. But this is a young team. They're improving every week, and you say, well, they're losing right now, 49-6. Well, the competition's getting better, but this is a very young team, haven't peaked yet, and they're working very hard. And Coach Phillips says he's very pleased with the effort put out at practice week in and week out.
Celestine's punt, fielded by Lammy, who is bringing it back up the field and down to about the 20. So the line drive kick hurts Carver, and once again, Rummel will have a short field with which to work. I tell you, Renee, I guarantee you, Carver's not going to go 0 for the year. They're going to win some ball games.
I guarantee. And as district play gets underway, these pre-district games are toughening them up a little bit and making them better qualified as they enter into district play, and they'll be playing some good competition as the district unwinds. But Rummel once again has the ball at the Carver 20-yard line, and Wilson and company get back into
the game. 5 minutes left, clock rolling, 49-6. Wilson beneath center. We'll give it to Martinez, who will spin inside the 20. Down to 19. Chris Williams right there to aid in the stop. Well, for the Raiders, as they'll tune in to district play next week, I think everyone would agree that Shaw is on a plane of its own in the Catholic League this year. But the rest of the league has gotten better. St. Aug having a down year last year. They have yet to lose a game yet so far this year. Jesuit looks strong this year. Brother Martin under Mark Sonji in his first year. As Martinez takes the pitch and dropped in the backfield. Mark Sonji doing a great job at Brother Martin. He's got some big wins out of his crew so far. De La Salle and Gwaine Matthews, this seems to be a team that has arrived. Some prognosticators had the Cavaliers picked as high as 2nd in the league to begin the season. So the league on whole seems to be strengthened somewhat this year from where it was last year. Was really a 3-horse race between Rummel and Jesuit for 2nd. Shaw in the top spot last year, where they will more than likely end up again this year, as the Eagles really look like they've got the complete package. Play action pass, Wilson now will hold on to it, and Nehemiah Washington will sniff it out and drop him there. Clock continuing to spin, almost down to 3 minutes. Steve Carroll down on the sideline. Let's bring it to him. Steve?
You know, I'm just reminded, guys, that in a game like this, being one-sided as it is, you know, there's a lot of young guys on this sideline here able to see some action. Some of the veteran guys are talking to the younger guys saying, hey, go out there and do the job. Your time's coming down the line. So I think in a way this can be a positive thing for a school like Rummel. A lot of kids seeing some playing time and getting some much-needed experience out there. On the other side, of course, the other guys wish it wasn't so. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Steve. Wilson looks to throw. He'll run the ball inside the 20, still struggling forward to about the 15. He'll be about 5 yards shy of the first down, so the ball will go over on downs, back over to the Carver Rams.
Well, you know, I know what Coach Jack Phillips is going to tell his team. You know, this is a test of character, and everyone's going to go through, you know, trials and tribulations. It's how you respond to those challenges in life, and this is a lesson to be learned by the Carver Rams, and this won't be the last time of their lives they're challenged and find themselves knee-deep in a hole, but it's how you handle that pressure and how you work yourself out of it.
We come down to 2 minutes remaining. Carver will have its final opportunity for an offensive touchdown, as the lone Ram score has come on a kickoff return. Haynes escorted out of bounds up around the 26. It's enough for a first down. The clock will stop as the chains will move up. Ashton Ryan in the ball game escorts Mr. Haynes out. And I think it would go without saying, Renee, that if we were to name an MVP in this game, it would be someone who helped in the decision-making process, which was early in this game. Of course, the Raider defense played well, coming up with a couple of fumble recoveries for touchdowns, coming up with a couple of more fumble recoveries that led to more touchdowns. Quarterback Buster Seelig playing well, but I would think that one's choice for MVP in this one would have to be Michael Burks.
I concur.
Almost 200 yards on the ground and 3 touchdowns. Haynes airs it out, looking deep. He's got a couple of receivers down there, and Mitchell makes the catch inside of the Raider 40 down to the 39. So clock will stop with 1:31 as the chains will move.
Once again, Hayes just drops back and airs it out, puts a little air underneath the ball. He does have some good protection and just puts a little height on the ball, gives the receivers an opportunity to get underneath the ball. Good catch. He had 2 receivers right in the same area. One of them came down with it, and first down, Rams.
Haynes airs it out. It's complete. That's Holmes heading down the near side and in for the score. That's Martin with the touchdown. Check that. Martin with the score.
Travis Martin with the touchdown grab. He got a good kickback block. From one of his... He couldn't get a number right there real quick, but Martin scoots down the sidelines after making a good grab and just outran the defensive backs for the Rummel Raiders, and with just 70 seconds to go, the Carver Rams get back on the scoreboard, but far shy of where they need to be, but shows that they gained a little respectability as they're going for 2.
Haynes floats the ball into the end zone, complete to Bichon, so the 2-point conversion is successful. 49-14 our score with 1:10 remaining in the contest. You're watching the WHNO High School Game of the Week.
Tired of friends and family calling Circle's access codes? Consider this. According to the American Family Association, AT&T and MCI are among the largest advertisers which promote anti-Christian values. What can you do about it? Switch to Lifeline. You'll get lower rates, fiber optics, and quality service. But most importantly, Lifeline contributes 10% of your long-distance dollars to LHSAA broadcasting. You'll be supporting Christian TV and radio every time you make a long-distance call. You do have a choice. Call Lifeline, 1-800-780-7804.
Well, Carver will take a shot at an onside kick here.
I commend for Coach Phillips. Commend Coach Phillips for the effort. It was the wind. Mother Nature doesn't cooperate. It's